And fortunately for Tennessee, it's not lost much in the spring window out of the portal. 4 guys have entered so far, none of which is Ricky Gibson, which I find interesting. That was the big one that was discussed back in, I think, February or March that he was going to enter. He's not entered yet, which is a win for the Tennessee secondary because without Jermon McCoy for the time being, that's troublesome if he does in fact leave. But right now, what you've got in the portal leaving Tennessee, John Slaughter and Christian Charles at defensive back. And then on the offensive line, you've got Aiden Bussell and Larry Johnson. Only one of those 4 guys kind of concerns me. Well, the one really does concern me, but the other 3, Slaughter and Bussell, were both reserves. It is what it is. Christian Charles, I never looked at him as a guy that was just out there making big-time plays on the defensive end for Tennessee that year, just because or really the 3 years he was there, because he got in due to injuries in, 2022, and he just couldn't stay on the field because he got injured so often the last 3 seasons. So, I don't know. He played a lot, but he couldn't stay on the field enough for me to really gauge how good of a player he actually was. Now, Larry Johnson, that's the one that I take a little bit of concern with, just because you've got a tackle side now where you're starting a freshman in David Sanders. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm really excited to see what David Sanders does this season because he's the highest rated recruit in Tennessee football history, or at least one of them, right up there with Peyton Manning and another failed 5-star and Bryce Brown. But Larry Johnson, when he came in last season, I guess it was against Oklahoma when John Campbell went down for a couple plays, when that other guy for Oklahoma just absolutely destroyed his leg because of that awful field. He came in and he did a pretty good job in Campbell's stead. I know Dane Davis had a rough night that night on the other side, but I thought Larry Johnson was pretty nice in that game. So it's unfortunate to see him go, and you would like to have some depth on your offensive line, but maybe this is a situation in which he was told, you're not going to be the starter this year. We're handing the keys to David Sanders. We're going to try something different this year. And I'm okay with that if that's the case.
Yeah, I think with Larry Johnson's situation, the biggest downside is losing that depth, that piece, because Tennessee's lost 4 starting offensive linemen in the offseason. And, losing Larry Johnson now too, I mean, that's going to hurt a little bit, but I think it could be a good sign. It could be a good sign. Of course, you want more depth on your team because injuries do happen, and they do happen frequently. But, I mean, seeing that he's going in the transfer portal, I think that could be a good sign with David Sanders' development. Maybe he's developed more than I initially thought, and maybe he is in a good position to start for the team this year, because with Larry Johnson gone, I mean, I think David Sanders is the most likely candidate to fill that hole. So, I mean, it'd be interesting to watch how he does this year with Larry Johnson transferring out. But, Tennessee's lost some players in the transfer portal, but I mean, I think it's good that they've been able to retain their receivers, and, the people that you mentioned, like they've had playing time at Tennessee and they've been decent, but I mean, it's not like Tennessee's losing like a big name player like Mike Matthews, like how Tennessee was like worried about before and everything. So, yeah, I mean, I was disappointed seeing the Larry Johnson news too, but I think this is something that Tennessee fans are expecting at the same time.
And on the other side of this, obviously, there are the guys that Tennessee is tracking right now in the transfer portal. And we've already talked about 2 of them as it relates to the offense, with Keelan Marion, as we mentioned, can do both receiving and kickoff returns for Tennessee should it need either of those. Bit of a rangier receiver as well. I believe 6'4", 195. So they've had a couple of receivers like that come through here in the Heupel era now, really starting with Cedric Tillman back in 2021, even though that was obviously a Jeremy Pruitt recruit. Trayshawn Hurry was the other one that I mentioned from San Jose State. He went for 482 yards and 2 touchdowns last year for the Spartans. A little bit smaller at 6'2", 194, but still another rangy receiver you can add into the mix. And then on the defensive side, saw this earlier today. They're looking at defensive lineman Marcus Burris Jr. from Indiana, who had not heard of until today. Defensive end, just by the looks of his stature here, 6'5", 286. And Tennessee is going to need some help on the defensive line this year. Not to say you're going to need to go out and get a bunch of guys from the portal, because I think Rodney Gardner has enough young talent in there to where they should be just fine. But I also do think that you're going to need some guys with a little bit of college experience, because you did lose a lot on the defensive line this year. A lot of proven talent.
Yeah, with the defensive line, I believe in Rodney Gardner so much that it's just never been a concern for me. It would be interesting if we got some players into the portal, because I think Tennessee needs a lot of depth at multiple positions this year. But as far as like picking up a defensive lineman and stuff, I think it could be a good thing for Tennessee in the portal. I don't think it's a necessary thing. I do think the addition of wide receivers would be really nice, because Tennessee lost a whole bunch of those. And then adding a punt returner into the equation too could help this Tennessee team out. But yeah, I mean, I had a lot of people that I had listed down in the portal to keep an eye on at some point, but most of those are quarterbacks. And with the Aguilar's commitment to Tennessee, I think they're pretty
good. It just
good
doesn't
there.
mean a whole lot right now.
Yeah, it doesn't mean a whole lot. I will say it does hurt that we lost Slaughter and Charles. I mean, although like they weren't like super big game changers for Tennessee. I mean, McCoy's injury, that's going to hurt Tennessee. I mean, he should be coming back by the beginning of the season, but never know how he will recover from it or if he'll be the same. And then like Ricky Gibson, I mean, he's still on the team, but his availability has been up in the air as of late. So yeah, I mean, Tennessee's going to have to get some more people in the portal. But I would like to find more than just like defensive linemen. And we already got some offensive linemen from the portal. We got the guard from Arizona, and then we got Pendleton from Notre Dame. But correct me if I'm wrong. I think we've only gotten, I guess with the addition of Aguilar, would that be Tennessee's fifth person in the portal?
I think that's right, because you have Wendell Moy, Pendleton, you've got Star Thomas and Amari Jefferson. So those are the four guys they have before, and then Aguilar is the fifth one. No defensive portal guys, all offensive.
Yeah, so definitely Tennessee will need to target some more defensive people in the portal as well. It's interesting that Tennessee's only brought in 5 guys in, considering they've lost so many players. Tennessee is like bringing in some talented recruits this year, but yeah, defense probably going to need to target some more people in the portal. Is there any other interesting names you've been seeing floating around?
I haven't seen any others besides those. I've been keeping an eye on them, but I'm interested to see if maybe they don't chase down another defensive back somewhere in the near future, just because right now it's thin with the injuries. We don't know what Ricky Gibson is doing. Need to take a look at the safeties again, because right now I don't really know what Tennessee has back there, because obviously Will Brooks was your guy last season. Jacoby Thomas is back, so he's at least proven. But you're going to have to find some guys this year that can step up and give you what they were able to last year on the defensive end, because that was really the strong suit of this team outside of Dylan Sampson in 2024.